Kala, Pene Pene Shabbat Nekabala la la, Laka Dodi, Likra Kala, Pene Pene Shabbat Nekabala, Laka Dodi, Likra Kala, Pene Pene Shabbat Nekabala, Shamor V'Zakor B'Dibor Echad, Ishmi'anu Elohim Echad, Adonai Echad, U'Shemo Echad, L'Shem U'Tiferet V'Liti la 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 Kadodi, Likra Kala, P'nei Shabbat Nekabala,
Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pene Shabbat Nekabala. We now please rise as you're able and face the rear of the sanctuary to hope to get a glimpse of the Sabbath bride as she enters our sanctuary.
Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha
Uv'tzahala,
Chokimune
Am Sigula, Boi Kala, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pene Shabbat Nekabala, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pene Shabbat Nekabala.
In the midst of it all, despite it all, because of it all, because there is an all, thank you, Holy One.
Before we rise for the Baruch Hu, Yoku, you going to come up and sing with Gary? Come on. Please rise for the Baruch Hu as you're able. We're waiting for Yoku to come up.
La 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 la. Baruchu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Vaed. Hamevorach Leolam Vaed.
Give praise to God, the source of blessing. Praised is God, the source of blessing, now and forever. Richard, you're up.
As the sun sinks and the colors of the day turn, we offer a blessing for the twilight, for twilight is neither day nor night, but in between. We are all twilight people. We can never be labeled or defined. We are many identities and loves, many genders and none. We are in-between roles at the intersection of histories, or between place and place.
We are crisscross paths of memory and destination.
Streaks of light swirl together.
We are neither day nor night. We are both, neither and all.
May the sacred in-between of this evening suspend our certainties, soften our judgments, and widen our vision.
May this in-between light illumine our way to the God who transcends all categories and definitions.
May the in-between people who have come to pray be lifted up into this twilight.
We cannot always define, we can always say a blessing. Blessed are you, God of all, who brings on the twilight.
Baruch atah Adonai Hamavarim Havarim.
Okay. Aaron is doing this one. I got Aaron. Oh. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at page 4. I'm looking at the wrong thing. You're right. I had it turned the wrong way.
Okay. Oh God, when you created humanity at the end of the sixth day of creation, in your image, you made it clear that you loved us from the start. You made us partners in caring for our world. You gave us laws and rules by which to live our lives. But most of all, O God, you made sure that we know that these laws are given with love for us, that they are not meant as a way to hold us down. Help us always to remember your wisdom, your love in all that we do, rule over ourselves, to live with each other in peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Praised are you, O God, who loves the people of Israel so much that you gave us rules to live by.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kivod Malachuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malachuto Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed be the name of one whose glorious rule is forever and ever. You may be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך. וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
In life, the first step toward finding a solution to a challenge is often taken blindly, unsure. Oh, there it is. In life, the first step toward finding a solution to a challenge is often taken blindly, unsure of where exactly the journey will lead or who will join us on the way. It takes courage to take that first step towards asking others to help us. At the sea, it took the courage of Moshe to take that first step. The leadership of Moses to make the path of freedom obvious with God's help.
The encouragement of Miriam to see us through to the other side.
Different personalities, different positions,
working together,
all needed to guide us toward a freedom we did not yet know.
Mi kamoka Adonai, mi kamoka neda bakodesh, nora tehilot oseh feleh, nora tehilot oseh feleh, makuteka ra'u banecha, bokei hayam livnei Moshe. Zeli anu ve'amru Adonai imlok, Adonai imlok le'olam va'ed.
Maybe, O God, what we need to consider building now is not a sukkah of peace, but rather a bridge of peace, to connect us from where we find ourselves to where we wish to be, from where we are to where we are going, to connect us to each other in understanding, love, and support. May we ask Sukkah,
the shelter of your peace, O God, is not a physical construction, but what we find in making ourselves into that bridge, reaching out to each other and to you in faith and trust.
Baruch atah Adonai, haporei shekach shalom aleinu, v'yakol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Praised are you, Adonai, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all the people of Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat,
Lasod et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasod et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Beni uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasod et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam.
Ki sheshet yamin asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasod et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam.
Uvayom hashvi, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasod et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Open my eyes to, please rise as you physically as you're able to. Open my eyes to truth, open my hands to give freely, open my lips to good words, to pure words, open my heart to love.
Adonai
Sefatavtita ufia gita hilotecha. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Yimotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Hasodim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Hasdod V'Og V'Imachot, U'Mevi Gula Livnei V'Nechem, L'man Shemo B'Yachava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'Yezrat Sarah. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, God of all our ancestors, God of Abraham and God of Sarah, God of Rebekah and God of Isaac, God of Jacob and God of Rachel and Bilhah, Leah and Zilpah, God of Moses and Aaron and Miriam, who led our ancestors to freedom and inspired so many other generations in their marches to freedom. God, whom we still call the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who is with us l'dor v'dor in every generation, the one who has ruled Le'om Va'ed all time. We seek to be worthy to call you our God, with the same strength and conviction our ancestors show, to enjoy such strong relationships as they did with you. Ruler, helper, savior, shield, praised are you Adonai, Rebekah's comfort, shield of Abraham and of us all. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayeh hakol, atah rav v'choshia, morid hafal, mechalkeh chayim bechesed, mechayeh hakol v'rachamim rabim, somek noflim, orofei cholim, umatir atzurim, umekayim emunoto, lishenei apa. Micha mocha bal gevurot, umido melach, melech memid, umishchaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye ha'akol. Wrong page, sorry. Atah shalom. Luzot Selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. You may be seated. Arlene, you're up. Oh, you're here. Okay.
On this Shabbat evening, we offer our thanks to you, O God, the one whose strength and might help us to help ourselves and others, the one whose unique and holy status inspires us to act uniquely and elevate ourselves and others. For the gift of this Shabbat day, symbol of our eternal covenant with you, opportunity for rest and joy, hope and peace, entryway in our journey to holiness as individuals and as community. For hearing our prayers tonight and at all times and answering them, even when the answer are neither what we are expecting nor what we were hoping to hear. For all the gifts with each, as a reward for our faithfulness, adherence to the covenant, or simply because you choose to bless us.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amka Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amka Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lekol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lekol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amka Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amka Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'anecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol eit u'v'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. We now pray silently. Imre fi, v'yon libi lefonecha. Yehu l'ratzon, imre fi, v'yon libi lefonecha. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri. Adonai tzuri v'goali. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri. Adonai Tsuri Vegoali. Yuli Ratson Imrefi Behegyo Libi Lefanecha. Yuli Ratson Imrefi Behegyo Libi Lefanecha.
El na Rafanala. O God, please hear my prayer and send your blessing of healing of body and soul, of spirit and mind, to those I know and love, to those I have never met, to the many who need the blessing of your healing on this night. El na Rafanala. O God, please hear our prayer.
Okay. We're going to do the Noah Boutin Mishaberach instead of the one that is printed here, and Gary will lead us in that. So please enjoy it, and Gary, you're on.
Beating like the wings of a raven flying empty, a heart will sing the only song it knows. And breathing in your breath of life, the dove will circle gently, leading to the healing path she chose. And I will reach out to you. Help me find my own song, source of strength, Mishaberach, Avotenu v'imotenu. Sing to me from where you are, Imotenu v'avotenu. Hold me in your loving arms, Mishaberach, be a blessing, Amen.
Okay. We're now going to have Devar Torah and announcements, so please sit down, Gary and Yoku. And thank you, Yoku, for joining us and singing in the Bima. I know you didn't plan on it, but we want you here. Okay.
Linda has a way of getting people to do things.
The Torah portion for tonight is Hukat. It's from Numbers 19.1 to 22.1. And some of those people in the Torah study group may remember discussing this portion. I'm going to give you a summary of what the major issues on what the major things are in Hukat, and then I'm going to do commentary. Moses and Aaron are told about the ritual of the red heifer and commanded to tell it to the children of Israel. The ashes of the red heifer purifies those who have been contaminated by contact with a dead body. Miriam dies and is buried in Kadesh. The waters from the well of Miriam dry up, and the people complain about the lack of water. The 40-year journey in the wilderness is near its end. God tells Moses and Aaron to gather the community before a rock. Moses is instructed to speak to the rock, and that rock will pour forth water from it. But Moses instead strikes the rock. Although the water issues forth, God tells Moses that neither he nor Aaron will enter the promised land. Aaron dies at Mount Hor and is succeeded by his son Eleazar. The Jews continue complaining, even saying that the bread provided to them is rotten. God sends poisonous snakes. Many of them are fatally bitten. The people ask to be spared, admitting to their sin of speaking against God and Moses. God responds to Moses' prayer and tells Moses to make a brass serpent and place it on a pole. Whoever has been bitten by a snake will look upon the brass serpent and live. The journey continues, leading the people in battle against several enemies. The Jews are victorious, and now they are at the bank of the Jordan, across from Jericho. There's three issues I want to talk about in my commentary about this, and I have to acknowledge that a lot of the material I got for this was from Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, the late Rabbi Jonathan Sacks of England. The first is healing the trauma of loss. The rabbis are critical of one who mourns too long, too much. A person should not become excessively brokenhearted because of a person's death. With rare exceptions, the outer limit of grief in Jewish law is a year, not more. Knowing these things does not always help, though. We are not masters of our emotion, nor does comforting others prepare you for your own experience of loss. This is the connecting thread of this Torah portion. The most striking episode is the people complaining about the lack of water. Moses is still grieving for the loss of Miriam, so he strikes the water in temper instead of speaking to the rock. The people had hitherto been blessed by a miraculous source of water in the merit of Miriam. When she died, the water ceased. Miriam was Moses' older sister. She had looked over him from birth. Without Miriam, he never could have become the human face of God to the Israelites, lawgiver, liberator, and prophet. Losing her meant that he lost the human foundation of his life. When one loses control of one's emotions, one might find themselves angry when the situation calls for it. You hit when you should speak, you speak when you should be silent. Moses at the rock was not so much a prophet as a man who was grieving the loss of his beloved sister. He was not in control. Although he was the greatest of prophets, he was also human, really more so than here. The portion is about death, loss, and bereavement. Miriam dies. Aaron and Moses are told they will not live to enter the promised land. Aaron dies, and the people mourn for him for 30 days. Even the greatest of us are mortal. This is the way of the world. We are flesh and blood. We grow old. We lose those we love. Outwardly, we struggle to maintain our composure, but inwardly we weep. Yet life goes on, and what we began, others will continue. Those we loved and lost live on in us, as we will live on in those we love. The second theme is anger management, which wasn't a term in biblical times. Why was Moses' sin so odious that it merited such punishment? Was he being punished? Although Moses was the leader for 40 years, leading the people out of Egypt and wandering the desert, a different kind of leader was needed to enter the promised land. The people had not sinned. They were thirsty and needed water. God was not angry with them. Moses' intemperate reaction was therefore wrong. According to Maimonides, anger is something to which we are all prone, but Moses was a leader, and a leader must be a role model. Moses was punished so heavily for a failure that might have been more lightly punished in someone less exalted. Maimonides further goes on to say that by losing his temper, Moses failed to respect the people. It might have demoralized them. Knowing that Moses was God's emissary, the people might have concluded that Moses was angry with them, so too was God. Giving the people the impression that God was angry with them was a failure to sanctify God's name. The sages were outspoken in their critique of anger. They would have thoroughly approved of the concept of anger management had there been such a concept in biblical times. The life of those who cannot control their anger is not a life. When a person becomes angry, if he is a sage, his wisdom departs from him. What is dangerous about anger is that it causes us to lose control. It activates the most primitive part of the human brain that bypass the neural circuitries that we use to reflect and choose rational ideas. We can see and do things that we might regret for the rest of our lives. Maimonides further goes on to say that there is no middle ground when it comes to anger. We must avoid it under all circumstances. We must go to the opposite extreme, even when anger is justified. Even when there are times when it's necessary to look as if we are angry, for example, the golden calf, when Moses broke the tablets, we should inwardly be calm. Short-tempered people scare others, who therefore avoid coming close to them. Anger drives out the positive emotions, forgiveness, compassion, empathy, and sensitivity. The result is that angry people end up lonely, shunned, and disappointed. The best way to defeat anger is to pause, stop, reflect, refrain, count to 10, breathe deeply. If necessary, leave the room, go for a walk, meditate, or vent your toxic feelings alone. The moral life is one in which we grapple with anger, but never let it win. The verdict in Judaism is simple. Either we defeat anger, or anger will defeat us. The third commentary is, why was Moses not destined to enter the land? What had Moses done so wrongly? What was his sin? What offense could warrant so great a punishment so as not to be privileged to see the conclusion of the mission he had been set upon by God? Few passages have generated so much controversy among the commentators. His sin lay in his anger, his intemperate words to the people. In anyone else, that would have been a minor offense. However, the greater the person, the more exacting are the standards that God sets. Moses was not only a leader, but the supreme role model of the Israelites. Seeing his behavior, the people may have concluded that anger is permissible. One of the most striking features of Judaism is that it is not to be centered on a single figure, a founder who dominated its entire history. To the contrary, each age gave rise to its own leaders, and they were different from one another, not only in personality, but also in the type of leadership they exercised. Leadership is a function of time. Each age produces its leaders, and each leader is a function of an age. There may be certain timeless truths about leadership. A leader must have courage and integrity. He must be able to relate to each individual according to his or her distinctive needs. Above all, a leader must constantly learn. A leader must be sensitive to the call of the hour, the chapter in a long story of the people. Even the greatest leader cannot meet the challenges of a different generation. After 40 years, there was a different generation who required a different type of leader. The fact that Moses was not destined to enter the promised land was not a punishment, but the very condition of his and our mortality. For each of us, there is a Jordan we will not cross, however long we live and however long we travel. What we begin, others will complete if we have taught them how. Okay. I don't have any announcements. Anybody have any announcements? Nobody gave me announcements. You all read the weekly message, so you know what's going on in the temple. There's a sisterhood pool party, I believe. I'm not sure the date. Sherry, you'll know that, right? What's the date of that? July 31st. So she's the one in charge of that. Okay. Okay, thank you. Lenny, I didn't give you a part for this because I didn't realize you were coming, but would you open the ark for us for Liva Anachnu? Please. Thank you. Please rise. Va'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. I hope that turned out okay, Brad. Good. Okay. You may be seated, I think. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, I've turned the wrong page. Tonight, as we prepare to say Kaddish, we connect to each other in comfort and sympathy. As we acknowledge those who have died in recent days, and we acknowledge the yorsites of, wait a minute, I've got it here. Michael Feinberg, wife of Madeline Feinberg and cousin of Bob Michelson. And we acknowledge the people whose yorsites occur on this day, and these include Zevel Berman, Monroe Blass, Hilda Bloom, Herbert Silverman, Ann Freeman, Tilly Kaufman, Mildred Nathan, Anna Weinstein, Fred Goodman, Edith Newman, Saul Zula, Bertha Benjamin, Goldie Cohen, Adele Lustbader, Selma Polger, Mayor Siegel, Gussie Barani, Anita Feinstein, Clara Gershenson, Harry Valencia, and Tom Rossini. We connect to our history as a community by remembering these yortsites and the anniversaries of the death. As we connect with our fellow human beings across the country, all around the globe, and acknowledging those who have been felled by this virus, and so we continue to add the praise, V'al kol yeshvei tivel, and all the inhabitants of the earth, right before we say the final amen. Please rise for the Yiskadal. The Yitkadal. Yitkadal v'yitkadash me rabah, v'alma devra hirute v'yamlik malchute, v'chayachon v'yomechon, v'chayedecho beit Yisrael, v'agala evzman kariv v'yimaru. Amen. Yehesh me rabah mevorach leolam leomeo maya. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpara v'yitnaseh. V'yithardar v'yithalev v'yithalal shmei dekudashah b'rehu le'elam min kol biratar v'shiratar tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiron be'alma v'yimaru. Amen. Yehei shlomo Rabba Shemaya, v'chayim oleno v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimaru, amen. Oseh shalom, hu yaseh shalom, v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol Yosvei Israel, v'yimaru, amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, comfort to all who are bereaved, and let us say, amen.
Amen.
You may be seated. And we're going to have our closing hymn, which is Maya Fe Hayom.
Maya
Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Maya Fe Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. And we're also, sorry, I hope I'm not messing up your sound. We need to acknowledge the birthdays and anniversaries that are occurring in the coming week. The birthdays include Patricia Sislin, Jody Edwards, Lara Burke, Janice Ellis, Nancy Rome, Sophia Waxman, Michael Feinberg, oops, sorry, he's not here, Cheryl Wells, Gail Wise, and Ryan Melodick. The anniversaries include Joshua Green and Monya Phillip, and Gary and Jack Steinberger. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord lift up your countenance and shine upon you, and may the Lord grant you peace. Amen. Okay, we need to do the lighting of Shabbat candles, and let's see, if Serena would come up and light the Shabbat candles, I'd appreciate it. You want to light the shamas? Thank you, Serena.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher neshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'havim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lechadlik ner shel Shabbat. Okay, thank you, and we're going to do our Kiddush and then our Hamotzi. Gary, you want to take the cup? Sure. And stand up to sing. Please rise for the Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kohadsha b'yachavo uvratzon hinpilanu zikaro lemahaseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehillah lemikroei kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'charta, v'yatanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'yachava uvratzon, hinhaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. Okay. Now the challah. Yoku, would you slice a piece of challah for me? Thank you. It's right there. The knife is right there. And we'll have more challah. We're going to have a very small collation. I don't know. Is it in the back or is it in the front? It's right in the lobby? Okay, okay. I'll break it up for you, me and Gary.
There we go. I'll just take a hunk off of there.
And I'll take a hunk off of there, and this is yours. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. I don't have a benediction per se. I just want to wish everybody a good Shabbat. Shabbat shalom.